Red dirt, Texas swing, honky tonk, country and western music. What do all of these have in common? Puppy dogs, wild bulls, trains, tractors, old pickup trucks, drinking whiskey and beer, pretty girls, and cowboys. Take a journey with me and meet some country music wives. Learn about their life and love. Exclusively on 1813 News. Country Music Wives, Life and Love.
I like to eat. That's how I keep this warm. Where's the food?
Those
the
are
beach.
Look, those are great.
Ooh, yeah. It's the beach. It's the beach.
I'm assuming you check your mirror. It's so beautiful and all that.
Well, I love the beach and I like little.
And I've got a pre-check too.
I'm stuffed.
You're pre-checked?
Yeah.
That's the
Okay.
only way to fly, girl.
TSA pre-check.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm marked as the same thing. Then we need to leave like to give you 45 minutes to get situated. Would that give you enough time to get situated or less?
What, at the airport? Just like 45 minutes to an hour. I mean, if I can get in and out of there pretty easily.
Okay, then we'll leave to our dad and
Tell her to call us back.
minutes in the airport. Is that good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Jade, FaceTime us.
Hey Jade, this is Sissy calling you. Us girls here wanted to talk to you tonight. Give us a call back. Sissy?
Tara.
Tracy.
Brandy.
And Melissa, we miss you.
Yay! Bye. She's gonna go. Oh. She's probably at church. What time is it? No. No, it's too late.
What is today? Sunday?
Sunday.
Oh, yeah, she could be.
What is today? Sunday. You can't buy booze on Sunday.
It's not. It's almost 9 o'clock. She's probably putting the kids to bed.
Oh, Doug.
You call Doug?
No, I said putting Doug to bed. Him and Bristol. Yeah. She's a cutie.
Yeah.
She is Mr. Stone made over.
Well, they say it's good luck if the girls look like their daddies.
She
And I look
looks
just like my daddy.
her dad.
I look at my daddy.
When I met my
My daughter looks like her dad.
Yeah, see there?
Blonde hair, blue eyes. We were actually at a store one time, and Ro was like 3 or 4, and this lady goes, "Oh, your daughter looks like her dad."
Mm-hmm.
I was like, "Do you know Don?" She goes, "No, she doesn't look like you." It's like, it's really rude to say in the groups.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
Speaking of daddies, that reminded me of a conversation I wanted to have, if it's okay, about being abandonment. Because my dad kidnapped me, and I was left an orphanage, and almost didn't make it back to my family. And abandonment has always been a really big issue with me. And it was really hard for me to communicate with my kids because I was left in that orphanage, and I feel.
Let me see. Well, okay. But mine's a dark story.
I know. So
And you don't.
They all
I mean,
three
just
are.
do not just share what you don't want to share either.
they all.
You don't have to.
They all three
Yeah.
are. You don't have to, but
Don't share.
it's
I
okay.
just have trouble with it.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
Okay.
you know.
So we'll just kind of rewind there.
See, it's really hard, you know. but
Right.
I swore that I would never be like them, and that I would move on, and through therapy, I got help and a psychiatrist, and I have medicine I have to take, and I take it faithfully and see a psychiatrist every 3 months, and I'm doing good. So I try to be kind to people because my parents weren't. And I believe that no matter who you are, I treat you the same. And you're in my eyes, friendship is loyalty, and friendship is strong. And God helped me a lot. My faith in God really helped me, and having those kind of friends around me helped me get through it. So it was really hard. Yeah, almost cried.
Yeah. I know it's so hard, and Brandy, on the way home from Mark's concert last night, we cried all the way home talking about similar experiences, similar but different. I was kidnapped at 3 years old, and my chicken dad left me and ran from the police, and I was in an orphanage for 8 months. And by the sheer grace of God, the governor of Louisiana, Edwin Edwards, while he was running for president, back then they went into orphanages and kissed babies. I was the baby brought to him, and he looked at me and he called me by my name, and I responded. So I was turned in, but ever since then, I have huge abandonment issues. I'm scared of the dark. I don't want to be alone. I need people around me all the time. I need to feel that you're here.
I'm okay with it. I'm not scared of the dark. I always tell myself I would be stronger than them and stand strong. And I through faith and through my morals, rise above things, and I would never ever be taken over by anybody. I'm married a man that understood and has been by my side and faithful for almost 29 years, and he's helped me a lot. So it's I try to be as strong as I can.
And it's so apparent to me y'all's love for each other when y'all look at each other and when y'all look at each other, both of your eyes light up. And just watching you last night at the concert while you were watching Mark, I watched you the whole night. You were like a kid in a candy store, just sitting here like, oh my God, that's my lover, that's my husband. Yes, you were beaming.
He's a good guy. I'm gonna keep him. He stuck with me actually, and he said the same thing when we married. He says, now I'm only marrying once, and I said, I'm with you for life. So he's helped me a lot. So we had strong values, and I stayed home with my kids while he worked because it was a job, and I looked at it as a job, and my job was to raise my kids and be the best parent I could be. And I worked very hard to be the best parent and teach them to be nice to others, and that Dad just went to work. It's not stardom or anything, it's a job. And so they have high work ethic morals, and all of them are musical, and one is making a living at it. So Casey's doing really good. Waylon works very hard, and Cameron we're working on with his addiction. So we're trying to get him back.
One day at a time.
Just one day at a time.
Well, your faith is very apparent in who you are. I mean, you're just the kindest, the most loving, sincere person. And I adore you, and I value our friendship so much.
I appreciate that. That was hard to talk about.
Yeah, I know.
Tell your story, Speedy.
Oh gosh,
we cried a lot last night.
I cried.
When I was about 3, and I have a brother that's a year younger than me, so we were 3 and 2. And my mother, when she was a teenager, she had a traumatic experience. She was very close to her mother, and they were on their way to go sing at a church choir event, and they were in a car accident that killed her mother, and it put her in a coma. And so she did not have closure in that situation when they had to bury her mother. She she didn't get to say goodbye. And when she woke up from the coma, when she came to, she didn't have that closure, and she didn't understand what all was going on. And from what I understand, she was never the same. And then she met my dad, and they got married very young. And then she had me, and then a year later she had my brother, and she just was not in a space where she felt like she could. What she told me was that she lost the one person that she loved the most, and she was scared to love like that again because she feared she would lose it. And in that situation, you know, we were so young, we didn't understand that. You know, all we knew was we wanted our mommy, and she didn't want to really be around us. My dad got custody of us very, very young, and she barely came around. She maybe came around 4 or 5 times while we were growing up, and we would get all excited about it, and then after a while we just learned to deal with the fact that she just didn't want to be around us, or that was at least how we thought about it. And then as I've gotten older, she's reached out a couple of times, and it just never lasted. You know, she would come on really strong and just not stay with it. And I think that played into my marriage. I was, when I married DONICE, I was very much in love with him, but I was scared, just like her. I was scared that if I bore who I really was, that he would eventually leave. Like her and my dad, we lived with my dad growing up, and my dad married 4 more times, so we had four stepmoms, you know, and each one of them, even though their marriage ended, when you're young like that, you think they're leaving you too. So these mothers that would come into my life, I would think, oh, you know, a mommy, there's going to be a mommy to take care of me, and they leave. And even though but in the marriage, it's not really that. You interpret it as a child to mean they don't want me anymore either. And I went into my marriage with that, and I didn't even realize it until we separated, and I was like, oh my gosh, I held back from being vulnerable and giving all of me because I was afraid that once he, just like all the others, once he got to know who I really was, he would want to leave too. He would want to not stay with me. And so I would just, you know, as a protective measure, self-protective measure, I would just keep it all inside and I didn't even realize I even had that. I thought I was fine. I didn't know that I was carrying that around, and it caused issues. I mean, and a person in a marriage, in a marriage commitment, you expect intimacy, you want intimacy, you want vulnerability, and when you can't give that, eventually things start breaking down.
Yeah,
so
that's so true. I'll never forget the day that I finally humbled myself to God and told Stephen, you know, I completely submit to our marriage, and I was going to quit working, and I was modeling. I was traveling all over the world, and I came home from Florida for a week, 7 days, and I'm like, I just missed you and our kids so much, and I just, you know, I'm finally going to release and allow God to take over our marriage and our life, and I'm going to put all my trust in you and let you be the leader of our household. And you know, I still deal with those abandonment issues, but submitting to him and having him be the leader of our household, it's one of my greatest joys, is being his wife and the mother of my children for the last 27 years. I couldn't ask for anything more in life.
God bless you. You're safe, and you have me for life.
You have all of us for life now. For the record.
I'm always there for you. Always. You know that. You can call me for anything.
Yeah, and it's really sad because I still have issues when I go see my dad, and I never realized why I was afraid of the dark until my mom told me when I was 17 years old that, you know, what happened, and then I found out he was shoving me in the floorboard of the car so the cops wouldn't see me. Well, he ran.
That's so hard. I'm so sorry you went through that.
Abandonment, you want to try to move past it, but it's something that it's always in the back of your mind that eventually they're going to walk away, that eventually they're going to run.
Well, I swore I would talk out about my story, and it was hard. I lost a lot of friends. People told their kids they couldn't play with my kids anymore. It was, and this was at church, and I said, this church has no God in it.
Yeah.
So I mean, they would just look at me vindictive, and the kids came in and they said, we were told we can't play with anybody anymore. That the kids told us that their father and mother said that they're not allowed to play with us, and I said, that's it. So I took them out of that church, and I didn't go back to a church because I didn't have faith in church. But I had faith in God. But it's still with me on a lower level. But I have a really great psychiatrist that I've allowed to be vulnerable with, which that's hard for me. And Mark is the only person I opened up to and let in. And it was hard on him because, you know, he said, you know, my wife has been through so much, and he still says it to this day, and he goes, I just, you know, don't want you to hurt anymore.
Well, Mark and Stephen are so much alike. They're so protective over us. And
Yes, very protective. Very, very protective. So I like to be humble and have faith in God and try to help others. So if they ever need to talk, I always open up. But it's hard.
yes, it is.
But abandonment is hard. I'm so sorry.
I'm sorry too.
It's okay. I'm gonna cry.
I'm a crybaby. I can't help it. Once I start talking about it, it's just the tears just
Talk about your
roll.
growing up. Or
I did not have a similar situation to any of you. I almost feel bad.
No, don't feel bad.
My mom and dad.
That's wonderful you had that.
Yeah, I mean, my mom and dad married in '78. I have an older brother who was born the day Lou Brock hit his 3,000 hits. So his name is Brock. So we're huge Cardinal fans. And then I have a twin brother. So my mom had a 2.5-year-old and then twins. And his name is my brother Brock, and then Ty, and then I'm Tara. Obviously, named after
name is Brock.
Really? I'm named after Gone with the Wind. It was my mom's favorite movie. So my mom and dad divorced when I was, I think, 10. I don't really remember. I was in grade school. And she actually left my dad for my stepdad. And for a long time, we thought we were upset about the divorce and everything else. And then I saw my stepdad. They were just dating because they didn't get married till my brother and I were actually 18. And I saw them kiss one time before he went back to his house. And I was like, huh. So I went to my mom's room that night and I go, I just want to tell you that I was always angry that you left, that you divorced dad. Because I just, as a kid, you're the one that moved out of the house. So it was your fault. But I go, after seeing you kiss Terry, I don't have one memory of you kissing dad. I don't have one memory of you hugging him. I mean, and that's not, I mean, it's not that they fought. They never fought in front of us. They just kind of fell out of love or whatever happened. And that's okay. Like, and today, my dad is 81 and has dementia. My stepdad and mom have been married since 2000. And my stepdad mows my dad's lawn. He takes him to breakfast every morning because my dad doesn't have a license.
Wow.
And when so 10 years ago, when I was having my daughter, I said, listen, we're always gonna have 2 separate Christmases with Rose family, or with Rose dad's family and my family. We're all gonna be together. We're all gonna hang out, because they were still kind of disconnected at that point. It was awkward when they were both in a room together, like 8th grade graduation. We're like, mom and dad are sitting by each other, creepy. You know, we always thought it was weird. But then after my daughter was born, everybody came together. Every birthday party included everybody, every side of the family. My dad's sisters, who just actually, both of them just recently passed away. Both of them had Alzheimer's. as well. But they just adored Ro, and they actually opened back up to my mother, and my mother actually helped take care of my aunt in her last couple of months of life. And it's actually really cool when I think about it, is they all vacation in Florida together. My mom goes out to the restaurant, like one day she'll have Terry, one day she'll have my dad, and they're like, who's this? And she goes, well, this is my ex-husband. Like, who's this? Well, that's my husband. And they're like, what? Like, it's cool. I never thought it'd ever be like that. And it actually, like, is probably the coolest thing ever. That everybody gets along. My mom looks out for my dad still. Yeah, my mom still looks out for my dad. And like I said, they, my stepdad and dad, they call each other husband-in-laws. And my stepdad is now in the doghouse a lot because he takes my dad for a couple beers every afternoon now. So my mom called me the other day and goes, oh, we getting beers again? I was like, Mom, stop. I said, does it bother you more that Terry drinks every day or that Terry drinks every day with your ex-husband? And she's like, oh, shut up. You know, so we all have a really good, like, we just all have a really good relationship. And like my brothers are, you know, two of my best friends. And
My brother's my best friend.
yeah, it's actually, it's out of all the things, and you know, losing Joe and other things that have happened in my life, like at the end of the day, today at 39, like I just love my family. Like,
That's so great.
we all get along. I can call them any time of the day. They're always there for
I
me.
wish I had that. That's
And they're in Illinois, and then and then my mom's in Florida half the year. But we're always. I actually FaceTime my mom every day on the way to work. So.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah. I try to call my dad, but sometimes he can't figure out his cell phone.
Aw.
So, but it's just, it's really cool. Like,
That's
I'm
a cool
blessed.
story.
Yeah.
I love that.
And touching
Yeah.
that your stepdad
Yeah.
takes care of your dad.
Yeah,
Right.
If he does
pretty cool.
that
Right, and then when I go up to Illinois once a month to take my daughter to her dad's house, and like I will go to breakfast with my dad and my stepdad, and like all the waitresses know, like I just think it's the best. Like it's so funny. It's really
Aw.
good.
wonderful.
Yeah.
That's
really
wonderful. Great
Very
conversation
sweet.
there.
Well,
You ready
Sissy,
for mine?
we are.
Mine's a long one.
All right, we got time.
All
We got
right.
the time. If you got, what is the song?
My mother and
You got the
dad.
money, honey. We got the time.
Unless you ain't got no money.
Oh, we ain't got no money.
So my mom and dad married in Memphis, Tennessee, and had me. My dad was a lover. He loved women, so he decided to have an affair. My mother found out about it, so she divorced him when I was 9 months old. I had a new baby brother by January of 1955. She became an extreme alcoholic because she loved him so bad and was so hurt. So bad that she left me at a babysitter because she didn't remember where she left me. And I was old enough because they would say, who is your dad? And I said, Marvin Pounders. And he lives in Galveston. So the babysitter contacted him and he showed up at the babysitter's house, similar to you. They called it kidnapping, but he really didn't kidnap me because I was his daughter and they couldn't find my mother. So he come and got me. He was divorced at this time. And so he took me, and then he had met this lady that lived in Seabrook. And he said, well, this is your new mother. And I was like, well, where's mom? You know, I'm trying to figure out what's going on because you're little. And he says, well, I don't know. And so we still didn't know. Well, anyway, my mother had ended up in Dallas and still a very bad alcoholic. And so my dad married the new lady from Seabrook. She didn't have any children and she had a ballerina studio, but at that time she didn't want children. So my aunt lived in Alabama and she had no children, but she wanted a child. So my dad gave me to his sister. So I was adopted under my aunt. Everything was smooth and happy and everything, and then she got breast cancer and she died when I turned 16 years old.
Oh my gosh.
So then here comes my dad back with the same wife, and they had had 2 children, so I became, you know, back in the family. But I'm that raging teenager at 16. Where have you been? Don't tell me what to do. You know, that rage. But anyway, she became my best friend, my stepmother, and she taught me how to be a lady. She taught me to have good times. She dressed me, and she was Miss South Texas, so she taught me all the things a lady does, but you know, I still had the Janis Joplin kind of thing wanted to do, the stringy hair and the stuff. But anyway, she was with me all the way until I got a call one day, and they said they had found my mother dead also, and found her in Dallas. She had died of cirrhosis of the liver.
I'm so sorry.
And so then she helped me, and then my dad passed away. And I had many, many more brothers and sisters. So we're sitting there right before, and my dad had prostate cancer. And so we're sitting there and we get a call, and it's a little girl, and she says, "Hi, my name," I ain't gonna tell her name because she may not want me to. But anyway, she just said, "I think I'm your sister." And I went, "Oh, okay." And so Dad was sitting there. We all went, looked at Dad. Because like I said, he was a lover. And so we found out she was our sister. And we got to meet her at the restaurant. Well, Dad died like 2 months later. She did get to meet Dad. And then we get another call. And I had a baby brother. And he looks exactly like Dad. It's just unbelievable. And I never have gotten to meet what we call our twin, because I was born July 54 and my brother was born January of 55. And I'm proud to say I have a mixed brother that I have never met, and he's in Las Vegas, and I plan to go and surprise him and go see him. And I'm excited.
I'm excited for you.
Yeah. And so then my stepmother, being the lady she was, we didn't tell her about the last 2 children because she was getting old, and she loved my dad beyond measure. Even though she didn't want children when I first came in the picture, but she took over. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But anyway, she also got lung cancer, and I was with her when she passed. And so we just didn't want to let her know because she loved Dad so much. But I mean, my dad wasn't a bad person. He was just,
He liked the
he
ladies.
loved ladies,
dad
and
loved
nothing
the ladies
is wrong
too.
with that. And so
I mean, apparently you loved plenty of ladies.
he did,
because-
and they loved him. He looked like Bob Barker of the, you know.
Oh, gosh.
He did. He was a very handsome man.
My father was very handsome too, but Casey looks a lot like him.
Yeah.
And Casey is so handsome.
He's a
But
very
I was
handsome-
so blessed. I was kind of like you. I had several stepmothers because my dad had been married 4 or 5 times, and so, but they all were, you know, great. But the last one really was my mom.
That's good. You have
Yeah.
a mom.
Yeah, and she, when I had babies, they were her grandbabies, you know.
Well, we took care of our parents. We didn't know. We did all the housework. We did all the cooking.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we got home from school, and me and my brothers would cook. I have had 2 stepbrothers. One passed away in prison,
Mm-hmm.
and I have a half brother, Tavis, that was I raised myself, and he looks at me as his mother.
Right.
And I take that kind of hard because I want to be just a sister,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't want to be his mama. I don't know how to explain it. I just want to be his sister.
Right.
And my dad loved women too, and I have I had a half sister who passed away, and I only met her once. And
No, just go ahead and answer
It's
it.
Jade.
Hi, it's Jane. Okay.
I have
Go ahead and answer. Yeah.
another sister somewhere in Nacogdoches I've never met.
Wow.
Yeah, so I can't find her.
There she is.
Hey, Jade.
Looking beautiful.
Good. Doug made me feel so bad. He's like, "Why didn't Jade get an invitation?" I'm like, "We